Nicole here with Job Hunt Solutions, and in today's video we're going to look at the common mistakes that you should avoid when writing your resume. As many of you know, I've been in the recruitment field for nearly 20 years, and in my time as a recruiter I've read literally thousands and thousands of resumes. And even now as a recruitment coach and resume writer, I still see some of these mistakes made today. So let's take a look at what they are and how you can avoid them. Mistake number one is poor spelling and grammar. Now, a lot of times with the word processing systems that you use, such as, say, Microsoft Word, they'll have built-in grammar and spell checks. However, they don't catch everything. There is a tool that you can use. It's called Grammarly. I'm going to have a link in the description below. But there's a free version and there's a paid version. The free version works just fine. It's actually a tool that I use. And it would be like an add-on or a plug-in for Microsoft Word or even Google Chrome, which is great for when you're typing in information on some of these applicant tracking systems. Alternately, I would recommend that whenever you have a resume that you do get a proofread. So, you know, if it's a friend or a family member or somebody who just is exceptionally gifted with English grammar and spelling, please do make sure that you leverage their skills and talents in proofreading your resume. And of course, there's always the option to have your resume professionally written. That may not be a great option for everybody, but if it is a potential option for you, that could be a great way to avoid that mistake. The second common mistake I see is a lack of keywords that are being used in a resume. So sometimes resumes are just so generic that they sort of don't really point to how your skills and experience can actually fit the role itself. Now, in previous videos, I did talk a little bit about finding keywords and the importance of keywords in your resume, but really it's really important to make sure that you take whatever keywords are in the job description and pepper them throughout your resume truthfully. Which leads me to point number 3, lying. So I've actually seen this myself with candidates who've applied to multiple positions in companies where I've worked, and I'll see different versions of their resume, which is fine. So it's great to tailor your resume to the role itself. However, I've also seen the same person with different versions of their resume, having different employers listed, different dates for the employers they had listed, and even different types of roles that are completely unrelated listed in their experience. So for example, you know, finance resume on the one hand, and then another resume that talks about a whole lot of marketing experience. They're just not related types of fields. So by doing that sort of thing, by lying or trying to even overstate some of your experience, it really doesn't bode well, and especially if you are applying to multiple roles within one organization. The recruiters will likely be able to see the different versions of your resumes and will compare notes. Number 4 is having a poor format. So sometimes people want to use, you know, funky formats or something that's a little bit different. Or if they're changing the overall format or look and feel of their resume, they don't make it consistent throughout the entire resume. Now, the challenge here is that it's really difficult for the reader to review your resume. And unfortunately, because of that, a lot of key line items could get missed just because it's a break in sort of a thought process for the reader when they're used to reading resumes that are in a particular format, and then they get one with a really funky format. Sometimes things just get missed because the brain is used to looking at a particular type of document in a particular way. So your best bet is to stick with some of the common formats for resumes. And finally, having the wrong length for a resume. Now, I know that's going to sound really funny because it's going to depend. So, for example, consulting type of roles, especially for MBA new grads, a lot of consulting firms are looking for a one-page resume. Barring that, it's okay to have a resume that's longer than one page. I find a lot of people try to condense their resume into one page, but in doing so, it actually messes with the format that we just talked about before, and making the resume incredibly difficult to read. As a side note to that, there is a difference between a resume and a CV. A lot of times in North America, we use those two terms interchangeably, but a CV is something that's more commonly used in fields such as medicine, academia, any of the sciences really, including engineering. A lot of times too, you'll see a CV used more in places within Europe than you would in North America. But the key difference there is that a CV tends to be much, much longer with a whole lot more information included in that. So there is a bit of a difference. So if you happen to be in a field that requires a CV, don't panic. A 2-page CV is not going to be realistic. Now, as a final thought, your resume, you should probably view this more like a living document. It is something that can be revised over and over again and really should be tailored to the roles to which you're applying. But as you're making your revisions or as you're tailoring your resume, it's still important to make sure that you are having it proofread or you're using tools like Grammarly or something similar, just to ensure that it is still using proper grammar and spelling. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have any helpful tips as well, or anything that you might have seen on a resume that you thought, oh, that really shouldn't be done, please do leave it in the comment section below. If you have any questions, video ideas, or would like to collaborate, I'd love to hear from you. Please feel free. You can reach me on email, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever works for you. And of course, for personalized advice, come on over to my website. I'd be happy to help. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy hunting!